What's up, everybody? Bad Gamer Elite popping back in. And with me is I Am Balmer. And if he's here, it's one of two things that we're doing. But this one is music and the message. Hi, Alex. How's it going, buddy?
Hi, Lem. It's going pretty well.
Yeah?
You know, I am, for those of you watching the video stream of this, I'm outside, probably the last time for a while that I'll be able to do this.
You are bundled up, bro.
I am. It felt like, I swear it dropped about 5 degrees in the last hour. I was outside. Outside is my happy place, and I was out here doing my last-minute show notes. And then when I came to jump onto the stream, it's like, ooh, it's chilly. I'm gonna put my layers back on.
Yeah. Yeah. I applaud you for thinking that you could potentially do that. But then I don't think that was the best idea. Just saying.
You know, I tell my kids this all the time. It's probably my favorite, like, dad saying, if you're gonna be dumb, you gotta be tough. Like, if you're gonna do something that you know is not the best idea,
oh my god,
be tough and stick with it.
Okay.
And on a slightly related note, I might have to cut off some toes later to frostbite.
Oh no! Well, we don't want that to happen, sir. No, we don't want that to happen.
So, season's changing.
Yes.
Here's our segue. Yeah, it's getting colder. We have Thanksgiving coming up in 2 weeks.
Don't tell me that, bro. I got Black Friday videos I gotta edit, like, by tomorrow, so they can get approved. I've got a ton of them.
Oh man, I feel your pain. And Black Friday was one of the main things of why I chose Chaos for the theme this week. And I mean, we met it working at Best Buy.
Yeah.
Retail Black Friday. Is there a better word to describe it?
Maybe, but I'm not sure we can actually talk about that here.
And even just having a family gathering.
Oh boy.
You know, there have been plenty of times where I think the best description of that gathering is chaos.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
And so yeah, chaos, disorder, confusion have, as I said, brought me to the theme of for this week.
Well, you said that you had something that you wanted to play. Do you want to do that now, or do we wait?
Yeah, I'll play it real quick. It's music, and it came to mind. It's not a full song, but it really hits the geekery side, I think, very well.
So I'm gonna unmute it. We both have to stay kind of quiet. I don't know why. Why did I just get so stressed out? Why did I get so stressed out? Okay, it didn't come through on their side, but I heard it.
No.
I heard it. All right, I know why it didn't come through over there. It may have come through on the recording, but just just for our friends that didn't hear it, we're going to do it again. You ready? All right. And
I'm ready. Am I
yeah,
playing it again?
Yeah, do it again. We gotta edit that.
I don't know if it's going.
Hold on. I got it. I didn't hear it. There it is. Okay. So for those of you, hopefully you got it now, Tom.
I hear it.
Yeah, there it is. I heard that and I immediately got stressed out.
Yeah.
Immediately. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that. So the music that I picked this week, I love every one of the picks, and each one really speaks to me as far as chaos, but none quite like Sonic Just About Drowning.
The playlist that you just the order, how I listened to that, sir, was pure chaos. Absolute pure chaos. We are going to put, hold on. I'm going to copy the link and I'm going to put the link in chat so you guys can hear what we're talking about here. You can listen to it on your own. Right here. Yeah, it does because I have to switch. That's me switching screens. That's fine. Yeah.
And so the order of it, quick squirrel. This kind of sums up my musical taste. Like, if I put my just Spotify liked songs on random, not too far off from what you experience in this list. It jumps around a lot.
Yeah. Oh man. All right. So let's go through this playlist.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look at it. Hopefully I can look at it without playing the music because I don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah, we gotta find a way of like what the acceptable length is for playing a clip.
Yeah, I think I want to say it's 30 seconds. And maybe 15.
So the first song that I picked, all right, it's pretty well established by now that I will stick to the spirit of rules, but when I can bend the rule, I probably will.
Yes.
And kind of your rule or what you said to me about picking songs was to choose songs that have meaningful lyrics, because we can't play the full songs here.
Nope.
But so that leaves the lyrics for us to discuss. And this first song doesn't exactly have any lyrics.
It doesn't have lyrics. It does. What this is what I was dealing with, folks. I'm sitting here like I'm sitting here ready. All right, let's have some discussions about the content of this. And then I realized immediately I gave probably one of the few people that can keep up with me with chaos free reign. Free reign, you guys, for this.
Mostly free reign.
Uh,
Make Lem look good. Don't get Lem fired.
yes.
I know the rules. So Hocus Pocus was like, it was the second song that popped into mind, just on the topic of chaos. Like I can remember the first time I heard the song. I'm pretty sure I heard it on the radio, and so it was even more of a like, wait, what moment. But when the vocals did come in, it was really like, what is going on right now? So I guess before I say any more, had you ever heard the song before?
No. I was ready for something that was coming from the Hocus Pocus movie. When I saw the title, I was like,
that was last month.
Yeah, I know. And that's why I was like, okay, going into, all right, well, whatever.
So what were your reactions to the song?
My reaction was, what is this? That was it. It was, I'm confused. Where's the point? What is it?
And so yeah, the music definitely has that like frenetic energy to it. And then the vocals, it's yodeling. The guy is yodeling. And like this, if you can capture my brain when it's starting to get overwhelmed, it is this song.
Oh wow, okay.
Like, it's the musical incarnation of my squirrel brain. Like times when my mind is getting pulled in so many ways that I can barely even form words to my thoughts, and like the thoughts are bouncing all around, just like the yodeling, where it's not like a continuous scale. It's up and down, up and down, up and down. Yeah. That was horrible yodeling. I apologize.
If you were a yodeler, we officially apologize. Also, the yodeling skills of Ion Bomber do not represent the yodeling skills of God Games and Geekery Life Promotions or Bad Gamer Elite. I don't have yodel skills. I knew where you were going now.
All right, so connection. Let's make a biblical connection with this.
All right.
It kind of reminds me of when, at least that, so you have that feeling of overwhelm and things all over the place, and it's kind of like a storm. Just wild and dangerous and kind of scary even.
Yeah.
And there was this time, at least, brain, sorry.
No worries.
Squirrel. So, in Mark, chapter 4, verses 35 through 41. On that same day when evening had come, he said to them, he being Jesus, "Let us cross over to the other side." Now when they had left the multitude, they took him along in the boat as he was, and other little boats were also with him. And a great windstorm arose, and the waves beat into the boat, so that it was already filling. But he was in the stern, asleep on a pillow. And they awoke him, and said to him, "Teacher, do you not care that we are perishing?" Then he arose and rebuked the wind, and said to the sea, "Peace, be still." And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. So it was the story of Jesus calming the storm. And absolutely prayer, like in those times where we're feeling overwhelmed, it is a huge help to just pause and pray, and God can bring calm to that storm in your mind. And something I absolutely positively believe wholeheartedly is that there is always time for a calming breath. So just like as you're getting overwhelmed, like 5-second breath in, hold it, 5-second breath out, and that single breath can bring can really break that storm of overwhelm.
For me, it's that verse 40.
Yes.
Right? Mark chapter 4, verse 40. Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith? Okay, so when you see that, it's like, do you still have no faith? Like, bro, this has happened before. Stuff like this has happened before. This is not the first time we have been in trouble, and you've been hanging with me for so long, and you might not have faith now. We came through that. What? And I see that, and looking on the outside as someone that knows the ends of the story, yep. I know the end. I can look on the outside and say, what were you thinking? And then I remember the time where I lost my job. And God's like, Jesus looking at me, why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith? I'm like, man, where have I heard that before? Oh, yeah. He knows the end of your story, too. Right? Just because you don't know doesn't mean God doesn't know. And I think that Mark chapter 4 right there, you guys, verse 40 is something that we need ingrained. I need ingrained for sure. Where it's okay to be afraid. And I honestly I wonder if it wasn't accusatory and more of, I want you to ask yourself this question. I don't have a tone. Like I can't hear the tone of his voice. But it could be, why are you so afraid? Or, so why are you so afraid? Because that's different. Okay. The why are you so afraid is accusatory. It's, you're dumb. You've been through this. That's me asking the disciples that. I would like to think that that's Jesus saying, why are you so afraid? Making me think, yeah, why am I so afraid?
And
Jesus Brady bunched me. Brady Bunch. Oh, Dad, I didn't think of it that way. That's all right.
Wow, B.
Yeah, right? You Brady Bunched me. Right?
Yeah, and I think even the first tone, the accusatory one, at least to me, maybe it's the military background, but I do find peace in that. It's like kind of the little kick in the behind, like, hey, why are you so afraid? You've been through this before.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, song with no lyrics. It It's great. I love it. I recently kind of rediscovered it not long ago. I love it.
Yeah.
The next song, I was able to like say it in my mind seconds ago.
Mm-hmm.
Dies Irae, I think. Maybe. Yeah, the next song has lyrics, but they're in Latin, and I don't speak Latin. Dies Irae. So as I was like filling out the playlist, I wanted to find an operatic song that really felt chaotic.
You did it.
So, like, it's classical music. Really has order to it.
Yeah.
It's very structured, and I like that juxtaposition of that chaos and order. And Dies Irae, as you said, it really feels chaotic.
Yeah.
A slight tidbit I found researching it is that the song is from a requiem. It's not from an opera. So
Okay.
super minor difference there.
What's the difference between a requiem and an opera?
So an opera is like a play where it's a whole story, beginning to end. You have the different characters. Requiem is more of like just a song, and in general they were made for like masses or for not choirs, but kind of that Gregorian kind of the I'm losing my words.
No, I know what you mean though.
That church setting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it
Church versus theater.
basically, yeah.
Got it.
And like a single psalm versus an entire
Yeah.
story, an entire play.
Okay. Cool.
So, do you happen to speak Latin?
I do not speak Latin. Not even pig Latin. Well, barely pig Latin, but kind of. Pig Latin. Every time I speak it to a pig, they never talk back to me. So apparently, I'm not saying it right. Or maybe their Latin is also a dead language, and they're like, I don't know what he's saying. It's on our coins. That's all I know.
Yeah.
Stupid pigs.
So, this song is about Judgment Day.
Oi.
And I can absolutely imagine that song Judgment Day being chaotic.
Yeah. Yeah.
A line, the English translation of the line: "Death is struck and nature quaking, all creation is awaking to its judge and answer making."
Say that again.
Death is struck and nature quaking, all creation is awaking to its judge and answer making.
Ooh.
So, on Judgment Day, like I kind of have, I grew up with Left Behind, and kind of have that in mind of, the end of days, of a whole bunch of the people that are currently living just being gone, kind of like the Infinity Snap.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's not necessarily the picture that we're told and shown as happening. It, like, all of life that's ever lived coming and answering to God on that day.
Yeah. The Bible says the dead in Christ will rise, and everybody's everybody's judged at one point.
Yes.
So, not just the 8 billion people that are alive now. That's like billions and billions of people.
Yes.
That's crazy sauce.
The so like the Judgment Day and the content of the song isn't so much what drew it to me for Chaos, or it stands out most to me about Chaos. Like the lyrics are an awesome. It's a prayer to God, really, for salvation. I highly recommend everybody like read them and listen. Of course, listen to all these songs.
Yeah, listen to all the songs, you guys.
But what really stands out to me is, or it reminds me of the story of the Tower of Babel.
Oh yeah.
And so it's Genesis chapter 11, verses 5 through 9. And basically, like all of humanity had one language, and they, I'm summarizing and maybe injecting my own understanding to it, but humanity kind of got too big for their britches, and they're like, we're going to build a tower that reaches into heaven. And they do it, and God sees it and is like, no, you're not allowed to do that.
Just no.
And breaks it down, and then scatters the humanity into the different tribes and different languages. And so there is confusion, total confusion there. You know, people couldn't work together anymore to build that tower to heaven. And so this song being in Latin, the entire thing in Latin, reminds me very much of that chaos there.
I mean, especially since they were working. It's not like they didn't start the project. They started the project and they had it going really well. And I think that reminds me of, you know, one of my favorite geeky movies, Jurassic Park. Right? It wasn't so much that God was like, oh no, they're going to do a thing. It was more of, they didn't stop to think when they thought that they could, they didn't stop to think whether they should.
Yes.
And he was like, let's save you from yourselves.
And then, you know, hiding in the kitchen, if the languages were the same, maybe the kids would have recognized, like, means, hey, this way to get outside. So as we're finding out, my yodeling skills are about on par with my raptor noises. And kind of along with language and communication, like, how many times have you found yourself in a situation of confusion because of a breakdown in communication? Like, even speaking the same language.
Have you not played Fortnite with Amanda?
I haven't.
Love you, Amanda. You're amazing.
Is it something like, all right, huddle up, and then somebody just goes running into the storm?
I don't know what you're talking about. That never happens. There's nobody that lives in the storm around here.
That's right. Because we have faith and know God will calm the storm.
Okay, so
So,
actually, there's something relevant in the chat that I'm going to actually read.
yeah.
Ryan asked. He said, okay, one way to answer the question of should I ask the question, what could possibly go wrong? Like giving Lem rocket shoes. What could possibly go wrong? Depending on the perception. What perspective are we looking at? Yes. Yeah.
And that like with anxiety, I think anxiety is that pretty common feeling. Links very tightly with chaos. And that like the what could possibly go wrong is something you learn in therapy of rationalizing.
Yeah.
It's absolutely a great absolutely a great way of kind of restructuring your thoughts and like, all right, what's the worst that can happen? How likely is it that yes, me walking across the street, it is possible that I will get hit by a bus. How likely is that?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that so that uncertainty, I want to kind of brings us to our next song. C'est comme ça. So once again, we have the language thing there.
I give you too much freedom.
But this one, it's so good, and this song actually has good, pertinent lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably the best one, best song on the list as far as the lyrics talking about chaos. So Paramore, C'est comme ça. Yeah, again, we have the language. Like sometimes you just don't have the words to describe something. And the next song, like I'll go a little bit more into that with the next song with How High the Moon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sometimes there's just like a je ne sais quoi where you need to use another language to describe it.
Yeah.
So
I used
found-
Yiddish today. I had a guest, one of our sponsor partners for Life Promotions came in today, and he was telling me a story, and I reacted in Yiddish because what else? I was oy vey, right?
Yep.
Because there's what else? What else do you say?
So I found a couple words, a couple of my favorite words where there's just no other way to say it. German, there's a word called Gemütlichkeit and Gemütlichkeit.
Okay.
So it's kind of like it's a feeling. It's like it's kind of peaceful. It's good friends, good times. Yeah, like it's hard to describe.
Yeah. Okay.
Another one I found was Fisselig.
Fisselig.
Fisselig. It's being flustered to the point where you can't function or finish what you're doing.
Isn't that just existence? I fisselig so much in a day. Wow.
And another one is blurg.
Yes! Yes. Oh, thank you. I blurg every day, bro. Like literally, that's my word. I blurg.
Yes. There's no other way to say that. Blurg. So, uh, so, all right, the lyrics though. Let's get to the lyrics, because
We're running out of
It's-
time. We're running low. We're running low. We're low.
yeah. All right, so, Paramore, all right, the lyrics that kind of stuck out. Lucky for me, I run on spite and sweet revenge. It's my dependence on the friction that really hinders my progression. I know that regression is rarely rewarded. I still need a certain degree of disorder. And like I feel that
Mm.
that like I know I to a degree I thrive on chaos and work best in that. I know just from talking to you, you're that same way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
It's where I
You
live.
need-
That's actually how we came up with the new format. Because because Lucas came, I explained this to our visitor today too. I was like, Lucas said you thrive in the chaos. You thrive in the now. So we're gonna have people send you a list of whatever you're doing on Monday, knowing full well you're not gonna get to it till Wednesday.
and
Yeah.
and sometimes that that line gets walked, like when I get called out on Monday of where's my playlist, and I need that last minute chaos to put it together. But there's definitely a line of acceptable chaos. I can function well on short suspenses, but when the house is not picked up and there's papers all over the place,
Yes.
that is, I can't function.
If they're not my
in that.
papers, definitely.
Especially, or when my wife tries to pick up my papers and then I have to go and find something, it just becomes even more worse, like digging through the piles. Like I knew where my separate piles were, but now that it's all in one, anyway.
Yeah,
I,
I concur.
yeah, yes. And kind of similarly, continuing in our worldly ways can be comforting.
Mm.
And it's something that we need to keep an eye on, stay conscious of, and avoid it. That just staying in the comfort zone.
Yeah. You know, I think that we grow in the uncomfort.
Yes.
A stagnant pond is comfortable. I don't have to go this way. I don't have to go that way. I'm right here. It's all good. And that is when the mosquitoes and the bacteria and the bad algae show up, and that one little stagnant pond becomes a blight on the whole area, ecosystem, living area thing.
Yes.
And I think that if we become stagnant in our faith, it's the same way. And it's one of the reasons why we started God, Games, and Geekery, because we can start looking or less of looking, seeing the Word of God in our games, in our comic books, in our geeky movies. We happen to see it, right? And in the lyrics of songs that are not done necessarily by Christian artists or artists who aren't Christians. Let's put it that way, because there's a lot of Christian artists out there that don't make quote unquote Christian music.
That's right.
But I for us to grow in our faith and share our faith with others, I think it's super important.
Yes.
And I want to throw this out to our students that are out there. I believe, and you need to, first and foremost, if your parents say no, you need to obey your parents. I just want to put that out there. First and foremost, your parents say no, obey your freaking parents, students. But also, have a discussion with them.
Yes.
Find out why they're saying what they're saying. And because maybe they don't see it as you see it. Maybe they don't realize that Uncle Ben was basically quoting, and I love saying this all the time, was basically quoting Romans 15:1. They don't realize that Boss Baby can teach us about the body of Christ. They don't realize that playing Fortnite can, I'm not saying is, but can teach us about our walk with Christ. All right. Tom, he can watch the VOD and listen to the podcast. So for those of you who are listening to this, I responded to Tom because his son Junior hangs out with us in stream. And that's one other thing I love about this is that's a parent and a child hanging out in our streams together. I encourage that students, parents, I encourage you, moms, dads, sisters, brothers, aunties, hang out with the students in your lives here at 2. You're more than welcome to do that. Twitch.tv/GodGames and Geekery, spell out the end. But yeah, that's what we want to do. We want to make sure that whether it's your geekiness or your faith, you're not becoming stagnant in that way. So that's my 2 cents on that one.
Yes.
I think we have time for one more song.
Okay. And I'm gonna break that, but because of 2. How High the Moon? I will keep this super brief. Classical music is order. Jazz music is chaos.
Chaos.
And disorder. And Ella Fitzgerald has like such a beautiful voice, and like I would call it, I would put it in with like the orderly because it's just so smooth and fine. But then she starts using it as an instrument and scatting.
Bro,
like in How High the Moon.
Scat got me. The scat got me. I was yes, absolutely.
Yeah. The line, or she says a line in the song, though the words may be wrong, we're singing it because you ask for it.
Yeah.
Like it's improvisation, it's making a joyful noise.
Yes.
And okay, so let's talk Beauty from Pain.
I'm glad you went there. I'm glad you went there.
Super Chick.
Guys, you've heard us fawn over Super Chick. It's one of Alex and I's favorite bands.
Yes.
If not our favorite band. Sorry, Michael and Duncan. Love you, Toby. But our Super Chick fam.
And John and Jen and Corey and
Yeah.
Seth.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi, guys.
But yeah, Super Chick. Absolutely one of my favorite experiences in life. Was seeing their final show. And like honestly, before then, I only knew one song. Anyway, back to today's story. So we have all of this chaos, and like I couldn't let it just stay. I couldn't let it be all chaos, and was trying to find some like resolution from it, and like beauty from pain was literally the phrase that came to mind. That growth. So I'll get into the lyrics. Though it won't be today, someday I'll hope again, and there'll be beauty from pain. You will bring beauty from my pain. And then a little later, I forgot how to hope. This night's been so long. I cling to your promise. There will be a dawn. So, like, work there on Black Friday, working the register, it can get really overwhelming. It can get really dark of, like, when is this going to end? I'm tired of standing and nonstop asking, do you want the warranty with that?
Yeah.
And we need to remember that God has promised us multiple times and in multiple ways, he will bring us through this.
Absolutely.
And so the verses that I found, I've spoken about this before, and like why these verses why they mean so much to me. I meant to look up the podcast number, but I didn't. So the full story of that, you'll have to look to the past episode I was on. I think it was titled like One Up. But the verses are Genesis chapter 9, verses 13 through 15. I set my rainbow in the cloud, and it shall be for the sign of the covenant between me and the earth. It shall be, when I bring a cloud over the earth, that the rainbow shall be seen in the cloud. And I will remember my covenant, which is between me and you and every living creature of all flesh. The waters shall never again become a flood to destroy all flesh.
I get that. Beauty from pain always gets me. Hold on for a second, you guys. I'm sorry. It always gets me. At least once a month, I have, excuse me. I have I don't want to call it an existential crisis. But it's a crisis, right? It's a crisis.
Like, you're well beyond a midlife crisis by this point, right? Sorry, couldn't resist. I'm sorry, I love you.
But yeah, I think that it's hard for me to remember that in that moment that beauty, there will come beauty from that pain. I'm gonna put it this way. All right. So I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and if you guys know anything about Brooklyn, you know that everything is available to you at the drop of a hat. Right? I mean, you can walk down the street. You need any kind of food. You want any kind of entertainment or music or just like bookstores, whatever. You can find it within a couple of blocks walk. That's not necessarily how it is in Wisconsin, where I live now. Definitely not how it was when I lived in North Carolina. I moved there when I was 15. I was going into my sophomore year of high school. I had high school kind of figured out, at least where my people were and all that stuff. My parents not only moved someone that had just started making his high school friends, but to an area of the U.S. where the culture shock from Brooklyn to North Carolina, anywhere in North Carolina, right? Let alone, and I was 15. Already super awkward. Like, I'm more awkward than I am now, if you can believe it. But I got to tell you, that right there was probably one of the most painful things that has ever happened. But I don't know how I would have ended up where I am today without it. 1,000%. No clue how I would be where I am today without it. So kudos to my parents. They're not so bad.
At least not all the time.
Right. So beauty from that pain.
Yes. Yes.
I got something for you. That's the episode that Alex was looking for, by the way. Episode 57.
Yes.
Oh, and I think you're. Oh yeah, no, you're not. You're not frozen. Okay, cool. All right, Alex. Thank you for this playlist. If you guys are wondering where you can find this playlist, Alex is going to put it in the Discord. In after stream chat, he'll put that right in there. Thank you for joining us here on Music and the Message.
And if you guys, there were 2 more songs we didn't get a chance to talk about: Helter Skelter and Mbop. Mbop is interesting. But yeah, let's talk about it in Discord.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, thank you all for being here. Thanks for hanging out. Remember, Jesus loves you. So do I. So does this guy. And always, always leave people better than you found them. Peace.